Hello, my friends. It's me, Gabriel, your leader of the wolf pack and your young healer. Come to you with that evening spark. This is life changing, this one, folks. This one came straight from the top. Grandmaster Jay up in here. Me and him were jamming, man. Let me tell ya. Form and content. Now, the title might not seem to resonate, like, what the heck does that even mean? But by the end, let me tell you, you better make sure you're buckled up, friends, because we are going for a ride. So, it all comes back down to forms are ideas made manifest, and they're based off of the content. So, see, that's where we get form and content. The form, whatever it may be, this phone is the form. Your job is a form. Your relationships, all these things, your computer, your books, your desk, your house, what have you, everything is form. And it's the content behind them that is the meaning, that places the meaning. The happiness, the value, it's not in the form itself, but it's in the meaning that we place in it. See, forms, they come out of content. It's not the other way around. For instance, being in a relationship, hopefully you're only in one. But a relationship in and of itself doesn't really mean anything. It's meaningless. I mean, you could be in a really horrible relationship. So it's not the relationship itself. That's the form, you see. And often they are the cause of a lot of sorrow. And this is because the form / the body, they kind of interchange. It's because it's the end. It is the ends, the ends and the means. And as such, it was founded on nothingness. And being in itself nothing, it is then fearful, because what's fear? What could be more fearful than nothingness? Because it's born of fear, anger, deprivation. That's going to be a big one for this one, folks. Deprivation, lack. And this also relates to the fact that if heaven is within us, as Jesus proclaims, the kingdom of heaven is within you, then anywhere else would be nothing, because we have everything already within us. It's outside the sense of completion. And so when the body becomes the end, having to have it for its own sake, possession for its own sake, this will inevitably lead to despair and suffering. Now you're free. We are free to try as many as we like, but the outcome will always be the same. You can tell when you've made the body the end and not the means, when you are filled with a sense of anger, anxiety, and depression, just those real negative emotions, when you're just not feeling joyful. And in these moments, it is best to just let them go. They're not worth it, however tempting they may be. For you see, the body is solely for the use of communication, because it's about to working through the body, but not in it, because, see, we are more than bodies. And this will result in healing. And then as such, a caveat, I think that's the right word, a thing about communication is that it cannot be used for attack, because it's a misunderstanding of its function, because communication comes from the Holy Spirit. Now, to let this all align, it all stems from 3 steps, general dynamics that I've come up with, or that have been discerned to me. And it starts with focusing on the idea of love. Not so much being specific, more letting the feeling resonate. The specifics will come in the later steps. And with love, it's more about what you can give than what you can get. So in this part, you're not so much caught up with all the little things you can get from something or out of something, because you also have to recognize, for if your needs are already met and already fulfilled, which they are, then from your abundance, you can see the ease of giving. Because think about it, there's millionaires out there who feel deprived. They feel like they don't have enough. But just as there are those millionaires, there's also homeless people and people who just are poor, but yet they feel full. They feel like they have an abundance of love and happiness. It's not, and it's because there's not like some magical ones and zeros, an amount of ones and zeros that will suddenly make you happy. So it's not about the amount of money you have. It's your state of mind. Because as you give, so will you receive. So if you give deprivation, you're going to get that in return. It makes sense, For instance, and in the inverse of that, if you give abundance, you will receive abundance. Now, I understand that in the forms, in the base of form, where I give you something, I don't have it anymore. So it seems like, oh, well, you don't have it. But see, it's not in the forms that we focus on. Remember, the value is not in the form. It is in the content. That's why, for instance, if somebody passes away, you can still have a love and cherish the good memories of what you had with them. It's when you focus on the form of the person that you experience the sense of loss. But see, that doesn't have to be the case. The good of what they're about will always live with you. And another example is, I've known many people who claim they have no time, and so they're very busy. What they're really saying is that, you're not a priority. It's whatever it is that they're not wanting to do is just not a priority. The amount of time doesn't change in the day, but what does change is the priority people make about certain things. People make time for what they want, what they care about. They're giving, but see, because they're giving ideas of deprivation, that's what they're receiving. So don't be offended by them if they might kind of blow you off. Bless them, pray for them, because that they may know the abundance of God's love, especially unto you who recognize this beautiful lesson in what this is all about. You recognize that your needs are fulfilled, so it's like, hey, if he doesn't want to hang out, he or she doesn't want to hang out with you or make you a priority, well, you don't have to get all bent out of shape. You can love them all the same. Gotta get a rinser. Okay, so number 2. From the ideas of love. So now we've got this idea of love. What happens is then images will begin to take shape in your mind, which are reflective of the ideas that bore them. For instance, if an image is born of fear, the images of that person that you had been founded on fear will come across to you as condemned. And you along with them, much to people's surprise. They think they can just project their hate onto somebody else and then they can get away with it. But au contraire, the emotions you give, the feelings you give are going to come back to you in kind, in equal measure. So there's a sort of accountability and responsibility to us giving that love towards someone. Because if the image of that person is born out of love, then that person will be seen as forgiven and free, with you there with them as well. That's the beautiful thing. You either exclude them and yourself from the circle of atonement, or you include everyone, because we're all in this together. And then number 3 is that from these images of love, the form of such will begin to manifest. Now, this isn't to say that it's just suddenly like if you have love towards somebody, they're suddenly, boom, going to be your girlfriend or boyfriend kind of thing. Or you're just going to magically have that job. No, what's going to happen is it's going to open up the channels of communication, because now you're not regarding the body as an end, but as a means, and a means of communication. So there won't be that attack. There'll be an opportunity for you to really share that love with people. And that's really beautiful when you think of it like that, and you can do that. Now, an important thing to note with all of this is that it's not the form that matters, but it's the content behind it. I've feel like I've already established this, but I think it's good to kind of delve into it a little bit more. See, it is unto us to be open to the forms that would manifest and releasing our expectations of the form. So, for instance, if you're so caught up on, you can tell, because if you become so adamant, oh, I gotta be with this person, I gotta have this job. I can't tell you how many times, I wish I had that, and then I don't get it, and I'm all bent out of shape, which is another dynamic of another tail sign that you were focusing too much on the form, but you don't realize that maybe the cat down the road is who you really need to be with. And so that's why I say to have no hope in the world. It's, don't have hope in necessarily the forms, but rather the content, because the content is that which you can give in love and hope and forgiveness and joy and peace, all these beautiful things that are of the Spirit, and we can share that. That's what you can give. The content is of what you give, and the form is the kind of the reward of that thought process. But the forms do not make the content. The forms come out of the content. So, for instance, like I was saying, you may want to be in a relationship with somebody, but what you really want, in a sense, if you think about it, in the heart of it all, is that to be loved and cared for, and to feel like you matter and appreciated, that sense of value. And that is important, and that's good. Everybody deserves that. So it's not so much about, I have to be with this person. Just allow yourself to ruminate and let that permeate within you. And the right person or thing will come along, and it may not be how you thought, but that, again, being open and releasing your expectations. Oh, it has to be this person. Well, you don't know that. There could be someone even better. But if all you seek for is the body, which is what's happening when you're seeking just after the form, and you're making that an end, you're focusing too much on the form, and you are then seeking after nothingness, because the form it doesn't really matter. It's so you're seeking after deprivation. Hence why you will not get what you want. Though on the contrary, you'll get exactly what you do want, if you think about it, because you were seeking after deprivation. So you're going to then get that in return. Then, seeing how the form is meaningless, you were seeking after something that was meaningless. And you're going to always know when you have sought after such goals, if after you have obtained it, if you even do, you will be left with this sense of unsatisfaction, that it's just not enough. It'll be short-lived, and you'll be off to the next thing. Because how could meaninglessness ever satisfy? Now, this all seems a little bleak, but let me tell you, friends, there's another way. And we've talked about it. It's what I've spoken of already. To use the body as a means of communication and not attack. To realize all your needs are fulfilled by the Holy Spirit. To release your expectations of form and rest in the content of the love that you give. And from there, you will know happiness. And from there, you will finally be able to live. That's what I got for you, friends. My God, I hope this has helped you. If this hasn't helped you, we need to talk. Man, I hope this has blessed you. It's definitely blessed me. I get excited being able to talk about this stuff, because this is the stuff, I've been in there with you, friends. I've been in the muck. I've been in the trenches. So believe me, and this is what has come out of it. From our deepest lows, it is when we can rise the furthest. Because the further we go, man, the higher up we will go in. Our determination is what will pierce the heavens, and our fire is the spark that will burn the first order down, I think. Is that what Poe Dameron says? Anyways, friends, here at the Wolfpack, we surely wish you well, and Godspeed. Peace, my friends.